10 bone-chilling books that will leave you sleepless. Welcome back to Next Chapter Audio, where we bring you literary journeys that stay with you long after the final page. Today, we're diving into something a little darker, a list of 10 bone-chilling books that will leave you wide awake, contemplating the twisted depths of human nature and society's darkest corners. These stories don't shy away from horror and disturbingly realistic portrayals of evil, violence, and despair. Each book on this list will haunt your thoughts, challenge your beliefs, and maybe even push your tolerance for terror. So, if you're ready to explore these psychologically intense, boundary-pushing tales, stay tuned, because this isn't your average bedtime reading. 10. Unwind by Neal Shusterman. Let's begin with Unwind by Neal Shusterman. Imagine a society where the value of life is twisted in ways that feel almost disturbingly plausible. In this dystopian world, parents can unwind their teenage children. Yes, you heard that right. They can donate their child's organs and body parts, piece by piece, under the claim that the child technically lives on. A loophole that haunts every teenager, every decision they make. Here, one choice could lead to their dismantling, with their consciousness scattered among others. Take a breath. The concept of unwinding looms over each character's life, each scene, forcing us, as readers, to question the very essence of humanity and the value we place on individual life. Through Shusterman's sharp, evocative prose, we're invited to confront our own societal standards and the potential slippery slopes within our systems. This isn't just a book, it's an unrelenting tour de force, one that will leave you awake, staring into the darkness, contemplating a world that maybe isn't as far-fetched as we'd like to think. Brace yourself, because Unwind will challenge your beliefs and leave you questioning the very fabric of existence. 9. The Collector by John Fowles. Now, at number 9, we have The Collector by John Fowles. In this novel, Fowles transports us into a realm that is chillingly intimate and disturbingly quiet. The story introduces us to Frederick, a man whose obsession with a young woman named Miranda grows until it becomes an unyielding desire for possession. And soon, his dark fantasies come to life as he abducts her, holding her captive in a secluded, nightmarish world of his own making. But here's what sets The Collector apart. Fowles doesn't just present a simple tale of horror. He transcends the boundaries of the traditional thriller, showing us that Miranda's struggle isn't only physical, it's a psychological battle, a clash between her survival instincts and her own assumptions, prejudices, and self-doubt. Miranda's imprisonment forces her to question everything, including her sense of self-worth and her understanding of what it means to be free. With each page, Fowles challenges us to confront uncomfortable questions, questions about empathy, about morality, and about the shadows lurking within the human psyche. Through his exceptional storytelling, he draws readers into the minds of both captor and captive, leaving us trapped within their twisted power dynamic. The Collector is not merely a book, it's an unsettling experience, one that will leave you pondering your own capacity for darkness and just how far you'd go to survive in the face of terror. 8. Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. Coming in at number 8, we have Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. Imagine a world ravaged by a deadly virus, a virus that makes all animal meat lethal. In this society, with no other options, governments turn to a horrifying solution, legalizing the consumption of human flesh. This isn't mere survival. It becomes an industry, with humans bred and processed for meat. Bazterrica's storytelling is both haunting and visceral, She plunges us into a twisted reality that forces us to confront our most uncomfortable questions about ethics, empathy, and humanity. As we follow the protagonist through his interactions in this horrifying world, Baz Tariq's narrative strips away our societal veneers, showing us the fragility of human compassion and how easily it can shatter when survival is at stake. This is not a book that lets go. Tender is the Flesh leaves you grappling with questions that are as dark as they are thought-provoking. What makes us human? What is moral? And at what point does necessity overshadow morality? When you finish, you won't be left with relief. Instead, a deep sense of unease will linger as you ponder the terrifying depths humanity could sink to under the guise of survival. 7. The Wasp Factory by Iain Banks. At number 7, we have The Wasp Factory by Iain Banks, a book that delves into the dark corners of the human mind in ways few others dare to go. The story centers on Frank Caldum, a 16-year-old who lives on a remote island with his eccentric and secretive father. Frank's upbringing is twisted, to say the least. He's been taught to despise women, and he's grown up believing a horrific lie that his genitals were mutilated by the family dog when he was just 3 years old. This warped view of the world shapes Frank's actions. He becomes desensitized to suffering, finding pleasure in creating rituals that involve killing and mutilating small animals. His most disturbing creation? The Wasp Factory, a macabre device he uses to predict the fates of others by the movements of live wasps. But here's where it gets even darker. Frank has taken 3 lives, 3 relatives he claims he murdered, after consulting the factory's predictions. As unsettling as that is, the novel reaches an even more chilling climax when Frank uncovers several shocking truths about his life, truths that upend his entire perception of himself. The biggest revelation: his father has been lying to him about his gender, secretly administering hormones to maintain this illusion. The Wasp Factory is not for the faint-hearted. Banks doesn't pull any punches when exploring the extremes of human nature, forcing readers to confront violent, psychological horror on an intensely personal level. This book isn't just disturbing. It's a brutal look at identity, manipulation, and the fragile line between reality and the twisted constructs of a troubled mind. Prepare yourself, because this story will haunt you long after you close the book. 6. Take Me With You by Nina G. Jones. At number 6, we have Take Me With You by Nina G. Jones, a novel that pushes boundaries, immersing readers in a disturbing exploration of obsession and control. The story centers on Sam, a calculated predator known as the Night Prowler. Intelligent and meticulous, Sam knows how to blend into society unnoticed. But when he crosses paths with Vesper, a young nursing student with dreams of a better future, something in him shifts. Vesper unwittingly becomes the object of his fascination, drawing him into her life in ways she could never suspect. Jones doesn't shy away from the raw, gritty realities of this twisted relationship. Through vivid, unsettling prose, she pulls us into Sam's carefully crafted world and forces us to witness the chilling intimacy that grows between captor and captive. This isn't a simple story of fear. It's a deep dive into the psychological impact of captivity, the brutal power dynamics at play, and Vesper's struggle to hold on to her identity as her world shrinks around her. The suspense is unrelenting, building a constant sense of unease that leaves readers questioning their own sense of safety. Take Me With You is not for the faint-hearted. It's an intense journey through the dark layers of manipulation and the fragile boundaries of survival. Jones herself has said, "If you need a trigger warning, this is not the book for you." Brace yourself, because this story will confront your deepest fears. and challenge your understanding of the complex and terrifying nature of human connection. 5. Dead Inside by Chandler Morrison. At number 5, we have Dead Inside by Chandler Morrison, a book that dives into the darkest and most taboo depths of horror, making it a read strictly for those who can handle extreme horror and dark romance. From the very first pages, Morrison makes it clear, this is not a story for the faint-hearted. The protagonist's unsettling proclivities, including necrophilia, set the stage for a narrative that explores the most disturbing facets of human desire. Alongside themes of cannibalism, abuse, and deeply transgressive behaviors, Dead Inside presents a world few of us would even dare to imagine. What's surprising, though, is the unexpected companionship that develops between the main characters, a hospital security guard and a maternity doctor. Each is haunted by their own dark desires, and in each other they find solace, a shared sense of understanding that feels both disturbing and eerily comforting. Morrison's writing doesn't hold back. He forces readers to confront humanity's most uncomfortable questions about what it means to be alive, and whether life is always something to be celebrated. This is a book that will leave you sleepless, not only because of its graphic, explicit content, but also because it taps into existential fears we often push aside. Dead Inside is not just a horror story, it's an exploration of the human psyche's darkest corners, inviting readers to face the haunting realization that sometimes being alive may not be all it's made out to be. If you're ready to brave the extremes, prepare yourself for a narrative that will stick with you in ways you might not expect. 4. Now You're One of Us by Asa Nonami. At number 4, we enter the unsettling world of Now You're One of Us by Asa Nonami, a novel that proves that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we call family. The story follows Noriko, a young woman who has just married into the Shito family, a large, close-knit clan that seems warm and welcoming at first glance. But soon she starts noticing oddities. Late-night whispers, guarded looks, and strange behaviors begin to chip away at her initial comfort. She realizes that, in this household, something is very wrong. Nonami masterfully spins a tale of psychological horror, weaving suspense and suspicion into every interaction. The Shito family is meticulous in maintaining appearances, but as Noriko digs deeper, she finds herself entangled in a nightmarish web of manipulation, secrets, and tightly controlled facades. Even the family's flourishing plants, beautiful but somehow menacing, seem to hint at something darker lurking beneath the surface. This is not a story of ghosts or monsters. It's a story about the dark side of human relationships, how far people will go to preserve an illusion, and the sinister potential of seemingly unbreakable family bonds. Nonami shows us that the strongest connections can be the most dangerous, and loyalty can become a prison. Prepare yourself, because Now You're One of Us will leave you questioning everyone you think you know, and wondering what secrets might lie behind closed doors. 3. To Be Devoured by Sara Tantlinger. At number 3, we delve into the haunting depths of To Be Devoured by Sara Tantlinger, a novella that explores the blurred line between obsession and madness. The story centers on Andy, a woman tormented by her own inner demons. Isolated and haunted, she becomes transfixed by the vultures circling outside her home. Their presence fascinates her, and in them she sees something primal and raw, a strange comfort that begins to consume her. Tantlinger vividly portrays Andy's struggles with mental health, crafting a complex character whose anguish is palpable. Through an unreliable and unraveling narrative, we're drawn into Andy's psyche as her obsession with these scavengers grows. Her grip on reality weakens, her actions become more disturbing, and her morality slowly decays, just like the flesh she finds herself craving. To Be Devoured is not for the faint-hearted. It's an unrelenting descent into madness that forces readers to grapple with empathy and horror in equal measure. Tantlinger's writing is visceral, evoking raw emotions that leave readers trapped between sympathy for Andy's pain and terror at the darkness unfolding within her. This novella will pull you in and won't let you go, taking you on a disturbing journey through obsession, mental fragility, and the frightening transformations that can arise from unresolved desires. Brace yourself, because To Be Devoured will linger in your mind long after you've turned the final page. 2. Cows by Matthew Stokoe. Coming in at number 2, we have Cows by Matthew Stokoe, a brutal, visceral story that dives headfirst into the most grotesque and disturbing aspects of the human experience. The novel follows Stephen, a man trapped in a hellish life with his sadistic mother, a woman so monstrous she's referred to as the Hogg beast. His existence is bleak, his only companion a damaged dog named simply Dog. But things take a darker turn when Stephen takes a job at a local slaughterhouse, a grim environment that only amplifies the horror of his world. Stokoe's writing is unapologetically graphic. At the slaughterhouse, Stephen encounters Cripps, the deranged foreman, who introduces him to a twisted philosophy that violence and killing are paths to empowerment. The boundaries between man and monster begin to blur, dragging Stephen deeper into an abyss of bloodlust and brutality. In the midst of this horror, he meets Lucy, his upstairs neighbor. Lucy's obsession with vivisection is hardly comforting, yet somehow she offers Stephen a glimmer of hope, a faint suggestion of escape from his tormented life. But in a world drenched in blood and chaos, hope is as fragile as it is fleeting. Cows is a merciless assault on the senses, dismantling any notion of good taste with grotesque imagery and disturbing themes that leave readers reeling. Stokoe crafts a nightmarish panorama that's not for the faint of heart. Be prepared. This blood-soaked labyrinth will shake you to your core, challenging your tolerance for horror and daring you to confront the darkest recesses of the human psyche. 1. Hogg by Samuel R. Delany. Finally, at number 1, we have Hogg by Samuel R. Delany, a novel that is as infamous as it is uncompromising, diving straight into the darkest and most depraved aspects of human behavior. This isn't a book to approach lightly. Delany's controversial work strips away any semblance of comfort, plunging readers into the disturbing life of Hogg, a character who embodies pure, unrestrained brutality. Told through the eyes of a detached and desensitized child, the narrative presents a torrent of explicit and disturbing scenes, with nearly every page devoted to acts of violence, abuse, and graphic sexual excess. Delany challenges readers' perceptions, not only of morality, but of storytelling itself, as he uses Hogg to push the boundaries of what literature can portray. What makes this book so unsettling is Delany's ability to craft compelling prose even within such horrifying content. By the end, readers are left with a disorienting mix of repulsion and reluctant empathy, caught between their discomfort and the stark humanity woven into the narrative. This novel is a relentless test of endurance, shattering conventional limits and daring readers to confront themes of abuse, violence, and exploitation in a raw, unfiltered form. Hogg doesn't just challenge. It forces readers to question the boundaries of depravity and the very limits of what literature can depict. Thanks for joining us on this bone-chilling journey here at Next Chapter Audio. Let us know in the comments if any of these titles are on your reading list, or if you've already braved the pages of one. If you found a book you're intrigued by, or even unsettled by, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'll keep bringing you recommendations that push literary boundaries. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, some stories are hard to forget, even if you wish you could. See you in the next chapter.